Noche UFC is going down in Las Vegas this weekend, and I'm pumped to see who comes out on top. I've partnered up with DraftKings, and they got an offer that is perfect if you're looking to get closer to the action. Right now, all new customers that bet just $5 will instantly get $250 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. When you sign up, use my promo code SONNEN. DraftKings, the crown is yours. That's $250 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5. Staying on the action and use your $250 in bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun at DraftKings with daily fantasy and have a shot at all the prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. New customers, use my promo code SONNEN. Bet just $5 and get $250 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code SONNEN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Who should Belal Muhammad fight next? It sure feels as though we're down to 3. Kamaru Usman, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Ian Garry. Now, Ian Garry is completely undefeated. He is the youngest of the bunch. I am fairly confident in telling you he's the biggest star of the bunch. I'm fairly confident in telling you, right, if all three of them walked into a room, an MMA room, and got introduced, that the loudest pop and reception would go to Garry. I know headline and media-wise I've got that right. Record-wise, Rakhmonov, just like Garry, is beautiful and undefeated. Unlike Garry or anyone else I've ever heard of, he has a 100%, this is Shavkat, a 100% finishing rate. I believe 9-9. I believe he knocked out, finished with strikes, 9 of them, and I believe he submitted 9 of them. Whether I have that right or not, it's still 18 matches, 18 victories. Never seen the distance. But as amazing and impressive as that is, Ian Garry, who's now at 15 or 16-0, as amazing and impressive as that is, if you had to choose right now, you were going to have this career, you're going to be a martial artist, but it's over. And you could choose between the experiences of Kamaru Usman, Rakhmonov, or Garry, and that's all you get forever. Which one would you choose? Because as we're starting to argue who's better and who deserves more between these two undefeated fighters and how amazing that is, a former champion that lapped a division and defended that title X amount of times and is the first and only person to ever be in the conversation of a GOAT against George St. Pierre and not to be laughed at, that's Kamaru Usman, and he does have losses, much like the GOAT, George St. Pierre. So how much do we want to get hung up on that? Because if you're Belal Muhammad, I will just share with you, nothing that I just said even comes into consideration when he's picking who his next opponent would be. He's going to want to fight the guy that he feels he has the best shot of beating. He is going to want the biggest paycheck against the easiest opponent. Now, a bit of an oxymoron to call anyone at this level an easy opponent, but do you see what I'm looking for? Like, if you break down which one of those is truly the most meaningful and deserves it, it truly, truly does, you would see why that wouldn't be who Muhammad would go after. Muhammad has been going after, he said Rakhmonov's name right away, like he never flinched from that. There was a little speculation in that Rakhmonov direction, to the point that Rakhmonov did an interview and came out and brought it up. He said, I've been offered and I have accepted Muhammad. But that died down. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. But we have to take into account a potential for language barrier. And it's really hard for me to believe that if that had happened, we wouldn't have heard Rakhmonov's team banging the drums, calling more interviews, setting it up, getting that question asked, having somebody go to the UFC, confirm and reconfirm it. Because if it was good enough for one day and nothing else happens, it's good enough for the next day and the day and the day after that, right? I mean, the true champion stays the champion, not just for the specific venue, and that same pressure would be applied to a number one contender if it had happened, if that actually happened. So I don't think that you're going to be able, and the least likely of those three, if you guys had the power, You had the power to say who's going to get the next match. You had the power to rate them in order. The least amount of votes go to Ian Garry. But I'm not sure that Ian Garry isn't the strongest idea. Like, I know he's young, and that O is beautiful, but he has worked his way up the ranks. There's nowhere you can put him now that isn't going to be an extremely difficult fight. If you try to get cutesy with it and you have an elimination fight, you will succeed. You will eliminate a guy. You will eliminate a guy that could be coming in to fight for a championship. It's a problem. It requires great consideration. I couldn't tell you to give Kamaru Usman to Belal, and that's the fight, by the way, I'm pushing for Belal. I want to see Belal and Kamaru. But the problem therein lies, if we are in fact down to these four guys, then we're going to take Shavkat and Garry and put them together. Nobody's dying to see that fight, for one. Nobody's going to be dying to see that fight by the time it comes off, for two. And two tremendous contenders, one of them now goes down. And that's hard. That would be a hard thing to do to yourself in a non-main event situation. That's where, if Kamaru Usman was to fight Rakhmonov, it's only a win. There's nothing bad that happens. I have to have people tell me and remind me that Kamaru Usman did not beat Chimaev. I watched the fight. I felt like he was the winner. And I don't mean that the judges got it wrong. I felt like he was the winner. His stock went up. I want to see him more. We are arguing that if he returns to his weight, he should be the number one contender. In a worst case scenario, his number three coming off a loss. You know what I'm saying there? If Kamaru was to fight Rakhmonov, I don't see any bad thing that happens there. And while that's happening, you put Ian Garry against Belal. Now, Ian Garry is probably the least deserving of the three. But Belal versus Garry, Rakhmonov versus Usman makes more sense than taking those four guys and changing the order. For example, Garry takes on Rakhmonov while Kamaru takes on Belal, or moreover, Garry takes on Kamaru Usman. I feel like I just stop you right there. That doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel like we're going the right direction. So you got four guys that are all pretty good at talking and playing the game. And annoyingly enough, they're going to talk and play the game right out of not making it easy on us for who should be fighting who. But if you're Belal, you're going to have to see two of those three. But I don't believe that you are going to have to see all three of them. So getting matched up with the one of those that you think is the easiest and simultaneously getting the other two matched up against each other, making it clear to the world that's the fight. That's the fight I'm looking at. Those guys fight, I guarantee, title shot to him. Whether he has that power or not, it's equally as important to do. 3 killers, 1 champion, go through all of them. It can be done. I mean, a goldfish can eat a shark if it takes a lot of little bites. But there's a lot more strategy to be played. Getting yourself an opponent and having your two enemies fight one another. And all of a sudden, a 3-way comes down to 2.